I think it also has a lot of sambhavna for discussion and of sharing ideas. Because digital era means different things to different people. But for all of you all in this profession, there's so much that you can share among yourselves, and therefore be the premier institution and its members to set global standards in an era where everything seems to be digital. Everything seems to be digital is actually doing a lot of good for countries like India, where transparency is coming in because of digitalization. Now, that itself is a good virtue to build on the digitalized domains of operation, but to share ideas on it and also identify possibilities, opportunities, being digital and getting to be even more digital is a very useful theme. And for you all to be together for 3 days talking that, I think will result in very good outcomes. And I look forward to knowing about the outcomes. First of all, I think the biggest opportunity that you can derive out of digitization is, at a very cost-effective way, spread literacy, financial literacy. And you might think I'm starting on a very weak opportunity. Who's bothered about literacy? Yeah, people will get to know what it is all about and so on. No, not at all. I think it is the financial literacy, and also because most things are already put on the public domain in the digital public domain. You saw a revolution which happened in India, and I'm sure all of you have recognized it, but I'm drawing it in this context now here. It is only because listed companies and their information were all publicly available, regularly updated, and with a certain sense of efficiency, the chartered accountants helped companies to prepare their accounts in time, and it became a mandatory requirement for them to put it on the public domain. MCA portal did it, and it continues to do it. That in 2020, when people were spending too much time at home, and also because of the digital access which was provided, a lot of retail investors found it fit to get into the stock market. I wouldn't think it is possible if we were still going to be partly digitized or not digitized at all. It was only because digitized accounts were available, and also the public were at ease using data which is available in public domain, even on their phones. They didn't have to go to even to their desktops. As a result, you found that the ordinary retail investor had the information in the proverbial tips of his fingers and was able to take a call that you found at that time, coincidentally, when the interest rates were not very high. People thought it fit to take that little risk and get into the stock market. Some did it even without going through the mutual funds, opened their demat accounts, and they were up there playing in the stock market, playing in a positive sense, and therefore giving a picture how India's small savers today are equally at ease with fixed deposits as much as opening a demat account and going into the stock market. And that is possible when companies are board-driven, when they have proper cost and chartered accountants with them, and when the guidance given by these experts has helped them to remain transparent and put most things under due diligence. That is what digitization does for you. Not just between the company and the bookkeeper, not just between the company and the cost accountant, not just between the company and the income tax authorities, but when in all these information are available digitally, the ordinary public, discerning public, builds trust. And when trust gets built about companies, the image of a country which invites investments from abroad, image of a country which has to have its due diligence aligning with the world, are all falling in place. And therefore, this is what the opportunity that the digitization gives us. I've just given you a across the board big opportunity which exists, but there are several which I will count as points for me to explain today. Aniket was very clear in saying that your footprint is all over this country. When I spoke about the financial literacy, it is because of this digitization helps you. Not everybody is going to be near your chapter office. And therefore, when you can rightly boast about having 168 branches all across country, in 5 regional councils which are present, and in 17,000 postal codes area, you have somebody registered, and the country has only 19,000 postal codes, 19,100 postal code areas. You are present in 17,000 of them. So I think for financial literacy and for course contents to be given to these students who are present all over the country, you are in a position to better utilize digital access to the students and therefore be readily available for them. It's also heartening to know that the ICAI has started financial and tax literacy campaigns. I understand you're doing it all through the country. And this is going to help a lot of people, in spite of all that is available in public domain. A lot of people still get carried away by misinformation campaigns. And when you as Chartered Accountancy institution run a financial literacy and tax literacy campaign, it certainly has a lot of credibility. So people can be stopped from allurements, I would think. Similarly, the moment I saw the title of the financial literacy campaign, I was a bit worried. And I will say this on a day when, to the credit of the Human Resources and Skills Minister, today he had released 2 books for students who belong to certain tribal communities who speak dialects in India. Dialects are not written, as you know, but because they belong to Orissa, for those dialects, in Oriya script, primers have been produced and he's released it. Now that was in the back of my mind, but when I saw the name, Vittiya Gyan ICA Ka Abhiyan, I said, oh my God, this is so much of Hindi. People like us coming from the south are going to be in difficulty, and particularly in Tamil Nadu it will be severely difficult. So I said, but then glad came the next part of the sentence. It says 12 vernacular languages are being undertaken. Vernacular itself is so colonial. So in 12 regional languages, you are undertaking this financial Vittiya Gyan. So I'm so happy that you are now readily reflecting the flexibility that the NEP offers. Mother tongue is being emphasized. So however much you want to align yourself with the global accountancy practices and be able to communicate effectively with all your MOU signed countries, it is important for us to have regional languages cultivated so that you recognize and honor the members who belong to so many different states. I also will recognize the role that the ICAI plays in ensuring a smooth implementation of the GST and the thousands of GST awareness campaigns and programs that you've helped educate lakhs of participants, has actually made a difference in the collection and also widening of the tax base. Minister Dharmendra Pradhan was right in emphasizing that MSMEs are the backbone of this country and we need a lot of hand-holding and support for them. Various initiatives that you have taken in capacity building for the MSMEs and for startups through your committees are well recognized, and I commend you for that service that you are extending. In the profession itself and using technology, there are several areas in which I think you've started taking a lot of steps, which you have yourself spoken about: data analytics, generative AI, and so on. I'm not going to get into the details of the virtues of such things, but it is certainly important that the traditional image of accounting as a tedious and manual process is rapidly evolving and evolving for your good. And I think that's therefore something which we have to appreciate and also take further. It is, of course, between today, tomorrow, and day after that you're going to talk as to how these technology-driven platforms and also the tools that can be leveraged to make your profession a lot more efficiency-driven, accuracy-driven, and also the quality of work. Because ultimately, technology, whether in manufacturing industries or in service sectors, aims at improving productivity. And I think that is the emphasis which I'll put before you as one of the Sambhavna, because the productivity gains which you're going to get out of technology and adaptation of technology is something which is very unique and that can only be felt when you get it. There's no way in which you can read about it and say, oh, this is going to improve my productivity. No, when you do it, when you use it, when you adapt it, you realize how much of a change it can bring towards greater productivity. Now, if you have more than 8 lakh students and 4 lakh members, it is going to be a big task for all of them to be drawn in with the same enthusiasm, but that's the work of the institution, I would think. And also, I was already reading and fairly impressed about the fact that the Committee for Review of Education and Training, which used to take decades from the time it is announced to give a new set of curriculum, is now doing a very rapidly short, collapsed kind of a job of when it was earlier, committees appointed, you take 9, 8, 10 years to get a curriculum launched. Now it's all happening within 3 years, but I suppose with the use of technology that can even further shortened. But of course there are newer areas in which chartered accountants will have to familiarize themselves with the global developments. Not just to comply with their expectation, but also to better advise your clients on absolutely new greenfield areas, whether they are carbon accounting, whether they are CSR accounting and auditing for that, whether it is the ESG, the environment, social and governance related expectations on which now due diligence is so required by your clients for even negotiating for transfer of technology, for negotiating for funds, for negotiating with partnerships. So unless you are familiar with the newer growing areas and you understand what are the expectations, and for all that, you may want to set up newer standards about which you were partly referring to, but in each one of these areas, you will have to set up best practices and also be able to, put the best efforts on a best endeavor basis, but of course in the long run to make that as the template for everybody to follow. Therefore, a new course for CAs, which has been launched from 1st July, about which you referred, 2023, and that which is being planned to be implemented from the next year, 1st July 2024, is of critical relevance. So there is just no discussion on the Sambhavna. You will have to do it from 1st July 2024. So I think it's very important, and I recognize in the presence of the Education Minister that the new scheme, the new ICAI course, is very much in line with the new education policy. So, and when I say it is in line with the new education policy, what does that drive from the new education policy give you? What does it infuse you with? The focus is now more on how to learn rather than what to learn. That mindset of, by heart everything and then you're through with it no longer works. The new education policy gives that creative instinct to learning, and therefore you want to know how to learn rather than just sections which you can by heart and get through with things. And therefore it completely echoes a shift from what to think to how to think. So when you're looking at carbon accounting, when you're looking at social stock exchange and so on, it is the how which is going to matter when you're looking at keeping the books, advising your clients, and also due diligences. So I have reasons to believe that these 3 days are going to give us a lot more information post your discussions. I'm not going to get into greater matters of trust building with the clients, trust building with others, but I just want to highlight the number of countries with whom mutual recognition and MOUs for the profession is being signed. The government is very active in making sure that India's chartered accountants would be global leaders, and you will have engagement with your counterparts in the other countries, and thereby giving the best knowledge and work experience that you have for others who may need it. And Prime Minister Modi's vision that life, the lifestyle for environment, that all of us will have to nudge ourselves to do things differently so that we don't need energy, whether it is through renewable or otherwise, to do things which can be done without it. So we'll have to move towards a more sustainable way of living. There are so many and more messages which are being passed through with these kind of campaigns which are going on. You've constituted a sustainability reporting standards board which was done in 2020, and also standards and sustainability assurance engagements in January 2023, I think. So you've almost formulated 16 social audit standards. I recognize the work that has gone through there. I was for a minute earlier talking about the MOUs. I think in May, ICAI has renewed its MOU with the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. There's also, it might just be a coincidence, negotiations are happening for free trade agreement with the UK. The Commerce Ministry is engaging with them. So there's a lot for looking forward to working together with your counterparts in England. Other than that, the mutual recognition and MOUs with Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Canada, Malaysia, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, and South Africa should be absolutely fully leveraged. So India and its new economy is being driven by startups, driven by new age industries, driven by transitioning industry from the old ways of doing things to new ways of doing things. All of this requires your support, your hand-holding your clients, your nudging your clients to move towards greater technology. And all this is just going to be possible only if you are on the top of technology yourself for your profession. So I hope you will build on the successes of the World Congress of Accountants, which was held in November 2022. You should strive to forge greater collaborations. The National Conference 2023 should also cover topics such as the GST, audit, and direct taxes also. I wish you, the Bhubaneswar and Orissa chapter, and the President of the ICAE, Ranjit Kumar Agarwal, and also Aniket Talati and Ranjit Kumar Agarwal, all the success, and looking forward to a Center of Excellence in Orissa. Thank you.
Well, it's a standing ovation. Thank you, madam, for those words of wisdom. I think that's the key takeaway for all of us, the entire CA fraternity, from this opening ceremony. The ICAI family and the Bhubaneswar branch is grateful and indebted for your presence and your guidance. We would also like to take this opportunity to present mementos to all our esteemed dignitaries on dais. As a token of appreciation from the Bhubaneswar branch of EIRC of ICAI, may I first request EIRC Chairman C.A. Debayan Patra to present a memento to Honorable Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Government of India, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji. What